The Cloud Practitioner is the most popular AWS certification in the world, but most people prepare for it completely wrong. They spend 3 to 6 months watching a 40-hour course on Udemy, taking notes, trying practice exams, watching more videos, and they never feel confident enough to actually go and book the exam. And you know the worst part? They think that they're following best practices. But in 2026, the top 1% of AWS learners are using a completely different method to get certified without burning out. And here is the thing that most people don't realize. AWS has updated the exam guide for 2026. New services have been added, others have been removed. So, if you're still following an old roadmap or using outdated study material, then you, my friend, are already behind before you've even started. I'm Suleiman. I've been in tech for more than 11 years, and today I run my own businesses across cloud and AI consulting, my software company, StudyTech.ai, and my academy, where I've helped more than 900 IT professionals, engineers, and career switchers master cloud engineering and land 6-figure roles, including at companies like AWS and Microsoft. I actually hold multiple AWS certifications myself, including the Solutions Architect Professional. So you could say I've been there myself. Now, the Cloud Practitioner is the first AWS certification that most people will go for. And it's for sure a great place to start if you're new to AWS or you're trying to get a foundational understanding. Now, in this video, I'm breaking down exactly what this exam actually tests, which topics show up over and over again, and a full 30-day framework designed for busy professionals who want to get certified as quickly as possible. Let's get into it. So the exam has 65 questions that you have to do in 90 minutes, and you need a score of 700 out of 1,000 to pass it. And that is it. There are 4 domains, and each domain is weighted differently, and this is important because they tell you exactly where you should spend your time to study. Domain number 1 is cloud concepts. That's 24% of the exam. This is about the why behind cloud computing, the 6 advantages of cloud, the AWS well-architected framework, cloud deployment models like public, private, and hybrid, the cloud adoption framework, design principles like scalability and fault tolerance, right? Now, this domain is less about the specific services, and it's more about understanding why businesses move to the cloud and how AWS thinks about building well-architected systems. Now, domain number 2 is security and compliance. That's 30% of the exam. The shared responsibility model here is the foundation. You need to know what AWS is responsible for versus what the customer is responsible for. Customer meaning you, and how that shifts depending on the service. Now, beyond that, you've got IAM, which is about users, groups, roles, and policies. MFA, right? The principle of least privilege. Security services like Shield, WAF, Guard Duty. Compliance programs, and how AWS Artifact works. So domain number 3 is cloud technology and services. That's 34% of this exam. Now, this is actually the largest domain, and it covers the core AWS services across compute, storage, databases, networking, and a little bit more. Now here, you need to know what each service does and when you'd use it. EC2 for virtual machines, Lambda for serverless compute, S3 for object storage, EBS for block storage, RDS and DynamoDB for databases, VPC for networking, CloudFront for content delivery, Route 53 for DNS. You also need to understand management and monitoring tools, CloudWatch, CloudTrail, AWS Config, and they now also explicitly test for AI and ML services, SageMaker, Lex, Kendra, and Amazon Q. This sounds quite overwhelming, but you're not expected to have deep knowledge here. Remember, this is a foundational certification. You just need to know what they do and when to pick one over another. Now, the beauty is that it's just a multiple choice exam, so it's really not that difficult. Domain number 4 is billing, pricing, and support. That's 12% of the exam. This is by far the smallest domain. Here you've got AWS pricing models, on-demand, reserve, saving plans, spot instances, the free tier, Cost Explorer, AWS budgets, the pricing calculator, support plans, basic, developer, business, and enterprise, and when you should recommend each one. Now, here is what's important. This exam is testing whether you understand the AWS cloud at a foundational level. What it is, why it matters, how it's secured, what do the core services do, and how pricing works. Now, that's the mindset that I want you to have when you're studying these topics. You're building a foundation, okay? You're not going deep on any single service. Now, if you look at the official AWS exam guide, there are dozens of AWS services listed as in scope. That's very overwhelming. So let me just save you some time. Here is the ones that actually matters, broken into 3 tiers. Tier number 1, the things that you must know. The shared responsibility model. AWS handles security of the cloud, physical infrastructure, hardware of hypervisors. You handle the security in the cloud. So your data, your access management, your applications, your encryption. IAM, so users, groups, roles, and policies. Least privilege, MFA, root users. IAM is a core principle to everything that we do in the cloud. EC2 and Lambda, so when you'd use a virtual machine versus serverless. Instance types at a high level, auto scaling, load balancing. You're not building anything here, right? You just need to know what they do and when they are the right choice. S3 and EBS, so object storage versus block storage. S3 storage classes and lifecycle policies. EBS volumes are attached to EC2. RDS and DynamoDB, so relational versus non-relational databases. Aurora as Amazon's optimized relational option. Elasticache for in-memory caching. You just have to know when each one is the right fit for the scenario. VPC basics, so what a VPC is, subnet security groups versus NACLs, public versus private subnets, internet gateways, global infrastructure, so regions, availability zones, edge locations, how you would achieve high availability, when you'd use multi-regions, so disaster recovery, data sovereignty, low latency, pricing models, so on-demand, reserved instances, saving plans, spot instances. You want to learn when each one makes sense depending on the use case. So then we have tier 2. Tier 2 is about understanding the concepts conceptually. So the well-architected framework and its pillars, CloudWatch, CloudTrail, and AWS config for monitoring, Route 53 and CloudFront, SNS and SQS for messaging, KMS for encryption, AWS organizations and consolidated billing, migration strategy, Snow family, and Direct Connect. So you'll see questions on these, but you won't need the same depth as you would need for tier 1. Then we have tier 3, right? Which is the final tier. Here's all about having the awareness, so the awareness level. AI and machine learning services, so like SageMaker, Lex, Kendra, Amazon Q, containers, ECS and EKS, document DB, step functions, Kinesis. You might see a couple of questions on these, right? But AWS has recently added AI services to the exam, so it's worth brushing over these, but having service level understanding of what these services do will be enough. All right, so now let's talk about how to actually prepare for the exam. I've built a 30-day framework, which is based on how I passed my Solutions Architect Professional exam, and in fact, all of my AWS certification exams, and it's purposefully built for someone who wants to spend 1 hour a day upskilling, and that'll be enough for you to pass the exam in just 30 days. Now, that's not to say that you can't spend more time than this per day. Obviously, you can, right? Now, week 1 is diagnostics and foundation. You want to start with a full mock exam before you study anything. So here, an assessment of your current knowledge and abilities. You'll score somewhere between 10, 20, 30%, right, if you're new. Maybe less if you're completely new to cloud, or maybe a little bit higher if you've got some AWS experience. Now, regardless of that, the score doesn't really matter. You're not trying to pass. Here, we're just trying to figure out your knowledge gaps. And this is a really important concept that I want you to hold on to. After the mock exam, go through every single question that you got wrong. Which domain does that question that you got wrong belong to? Which topic? What concept did you miss? Note it down for now because you'll need it for week 2. Then you want to spend the first half of week 1 on cloud concepts and security first. This is because these 2 domains make up 54% of the exam, and it's all of the topics and services that we mentioned earlier. Now, towards the end of the first week, move into the core services, end each session of learning with 10 to 20 targeted practice questions to solidify your understanding. Week 2 is about deep diving on the weak areas. So here, you want to go back to your notes from week 1 and look at the domains where you scored the lowest. This entire week is about going deeper on those specific gaps. If security was the weakest, you want to spend time on security services. If cloud technology tripped you up, then go deeper on those services that you didn't recognize. If billing confused you, put your focus on that. So here, you're not following a 40-hour course in order here, right? You're specifically attacking your knowledge gaps by domain. End each day with domain-specific practice questions. Week number 3, active recall and mock exams. So this is where you start shifting from learning to retrieving. Most people study by rewatching videos and highlighting notes. This feels very productive, but nothing sticks, right? Your brain doesn't remember what you consume passively. Instead, you want to close the tab, explain the concepts and topics out loud. Write down everything that you know from memory for each tier. Build flashcards, force yourself to retrieve and recall the information. So you start the week with active recall sessions on your weakest remaining topics, and then in the second half of the week, take 2 full mock exams under timed conditions. After each one, review every wrong answer and categorize again by domain. Compared to your week 1 results, Did you improve? Are there new areas that you're weak on? Look for the patterns. Whatever's still weak is your focus for week 4. Week 4, refinement and exams. Here, we want to start the week with targeted review on the topics that kept appearing in your wrong answers from week 3. Active recall, flashcard sessions, short practice tests, no new content, right? We just want to be sharpening the knowledge. Then midweek, take 2 more full mock exams under exam conditions. If you're consistently scoring over 80%, then you're ready to book the exam. If you still got a couple of domains tripping you up, double down on those and then go and take the exam. Now, if you follow this framework, you'll have the exact system that I use to pass my AWS certifications, including the Solutions Architect Professional. And in fact, I was able to pass the Cloud Practitioner in just 7 days. There's literally a video on this channel about that. But with that said, most people still won't execute this plan because doing all of this manually is literally a nightmare. Notes in one place, flashcards in another, mock exams on a separate platform, tracking your progress in a spreadsheet. You end up spending more time managing the process and actually learning and getting exam ready. And the worst part of all of this, none of the platforms are personalized to you. Every course forces you through the topics that you already know. Every mock exam is the same for everyone else. And you have zero visibility on when you're actually ready to book your exam. And I'm not even accounting for all of the costs that come with using 5 different platforms. Now, when I was getting my own certifications, I was losing 10 to 15 hours a week just on admin work. And I kept asking myself, why has nobody built one platform that just does all of this? And the answer was pretty simple. The people building these platforms have never actually sat an AWS exam themselves. They've never worked in a cloud industry. They don't understand the problems that we face. And that's why I want to share with you a brand new platform that I've built from scratch that the top 1% of AWS learners are using to get AWS certified, and it's called StudyTech.ai. StudyTech.ai is the only platform in the world that identifies what you already know and focuses your time exclusively on your knowledge gaps. Here is how it works and why I've purposefully built this in this way to get you AWS certified as fast as possible. When you sign up, you choose a certification that you want to do, in this case, the Cloud Practitioner, and then you take a skill assessment. So here, StudyTech figures out your strengths and your weaknesses across every domain of the exam. From there, every day that you log in, StudyTech takes care of every single part of your learning journey for you. There's a daily loop that takes literally less than 10 minutes. You learn a focused piece of material from your weakest domain and your weakest topics. You get quizzed on it immediately, and then the questions that you get wrong turn into flashcards automatically so you can nail the exact knowledge gaps. That is it. You log in, you hit the button, and you start learning right away. No more 30-hour courses that you'll never finish. No more jumping between 5 different tools or watching videos on topics that you already know. And when you finish one set, you can literally move on to the next and keep learning, forcing active recall and focusing on your weak areas. And the more you use a platform and the more you improve, StudyTech tracks your progress in real time and gives you visibility on exactly how much knowledge and the skills that you know about and that you have for each of the domain for the exam. And then every action that you take is fed into your profile and into the dashboard, is updated in real time and personalized to you. So at all times, the platform knows exactly what you personally should be focusing on to improve your scores and get ready for the exam. And then once you start blitzing through the quizzes, you'll unlock the ability to do mock exams. These are also inside of StudyTech.ai and they come with your subscription. And yes, again, they'll be personalized so that you're not focusing on topics that you already know. And the best part, every single mock exam that you take feeds back into the data that StudyTech has in a dashboard and tells you exactly which domains are still weak, which topics you need to work on, and which skills you need to focus on. So once you start passing confidently and progressing through all of the topics in each domain, you'll notice that your exam readiness score is updating in real time. And then StudyTech.ai will give you the signal to go book the CCP exam when you are ready. No more guessing, no more flying blind, just a complete data-driven, personalized approach. So find your gaps, study what matters, and know when you are ready. So if you want to get AWS certified without wasting months, go check out StudyTech.ai. The link's in the description below. And right now, we are running a special discount on our yearly plans, so go and take advantage of that before it expires. StudyTech.ai was built by me, solving the problem that I faced when I was getting AWS certified, so that's why it works, because I've been in your shoes. Again, link in the description below, StudyTech.ai, and we've got a discount on our yearly plan, just as a thank you for supporting me on this channel over the years. And we are adding more certification as well across cloud and IT and security. So yeah, as always, I'm rooting for you and become undeniable.